Are you a high school basketball player who's hungry for the knowledge that's going to help you improve your game, that's going to give you an edge over other players in the competition, and just might impact your life in other ways? Well, if so, you're going to want to listen to today's episode, because what we're going to talk about in today's episode is the most critical step to becoming a lifelong learner and a student of the game of basketball. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So today we are talking about becoming a lifelong learner and becoming a student of the game of basketball. And, becoming a lifelong learner, we're going to talk about it in relation to how to become a better basketball player and how to apply it to your life in the game of basketball. But if you become a lifelong learner and get in the habit of becoming a lifelong learner, it can have really such a dramatic impact on other areas of your life, both today and going forward. So what we're going to cover today is what I think is the most important step you can take to become a lifelong learner and a student of the game of basketball. We're going to cover the first step in the process of learning. And yes, learning is a process, and we're going to talk about that critical first step. And then I'm going to share a story of two basketball players that are very similar in nature, similar basketball players from a similar high school, but had very different outcomes based on their approach to learning. So I'll share that story with you as well. Before I jump into all that, I do like to give you a free gift just for spending time with me today, watching the video. Maybe you're listening on the podcast. You can download a free checklist of what I think are the most important 8 intangible skills that coaches love to see in players. And this checklist gives you not just the skills, but ways to approach those skills, ways to implement those skills to really shine in front of coaches. So you can download this checklist by scanning the QR code below. I'll put a link in the description below. Or if you're on the podcast and just listening, you can simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles. Again, it's hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles. I'll be sure to get you that free gift. So, becoming a lifelong learner, becoming a student of the game of basketball. Lifelong learners, I'm going to talk about, the approach that lifelong learners have in contrast to maybe how other people, approach learning. And we all learn things throughout our life, throughout our careers in basketball and so forth. But lifelong learners have a little bit different approach to learning, and I'm going to talk about some of those. So the first thing is lifelong learners. If you really want to be a student of the game of basketball, you invest in yourself and you invest in the process of learning. You really look at learning new skills, new strategies, new techniques, new things. You look at learning as an investment in yourself. And that's what I want you to do as a player. If you happen to be a coach or a parent or anybody out there, we can all do better on investing in ourselves. And we invest in ourselves through learning. So, whatever you learn, there is a process to learning. And you go through different stages in that process until something is completely learned and really becomes kind of a habit, if you will. If we want to talk about it in basketball terms, becomes a habit. So that first stage, everything you've ever learned, a skill, a drill, a play, anything in your life that you've ever learned, how to walk, how to talk, every skill starts off in this beginning stage. And that stage I like to refer to as the clueless stage. And simply the clueless stage is you just don't know what you don't know, okay? And this, I believe, is the most critical element of becoming a lifelong learner. And when we're referring to basketball, becoming a student of the game of basketball. And that is lifelong learners are open to new ideas. They're open to different ways of doing things, ways that might give them an edge, might give you an edge in your game, might give you an edge on the court, might give you an edge to make that team, might give you an edge to get that scholarship, whatever the case might be, okay? You're investing in yourself, you're investing in your knowledge base in order to become a lifelong learner, in order to become a student of the game of basketball. And we're not going to go through each stage of learning. I've done that in some past videos. I'll do that in the future. But the critical element of being a lifelong learner when you're in that clueless stage is an openness to get out of that clueless stage with as many things as you can. Now, that doesn't mean you need to take everything you learn and apply it. You're going to pick and choose what you apply and go into the other stages of learning, the future stages of learning. But lifelong learners, people that are investing in themselves, players that are investing in themselves, they take that critical step of, I'm open. I'm open to hearing a different message. I'm open to hearing a different mindset. I'm open to hearing a different way of doing things in order to, some of these are going to give me an edge, and that's what I'm looking for. The second element of lifelong learners are they're patient, okay? They are patient because they realize that I am not going to learn everything there is to do with the game of basketball next season, this summer, during my high school career, during my college career, even during my professional career. Becoming a student of the game, becoming a lifelong learner, it's just that. It is a lifelong process of learning new things, not being resistant to new ways and new things, but being open to new ways and new things. So they're always looking for opportunities to gain an edge, to gain some more knowledge. They're looking for opportunities, those nuggets of information. And they're also looking to diversify how they learn. You might say, well, I learn basketball from my coaches and from maybe a parent, my trainer, but sorry to let you know, but 80% of coaches, roughly, teach plays. They might not teach you how to play. They might not teach you new techniques, okay? Because 80% of coaches might not be lifelong learners themselves. Same with trainers. Trainers teach what they know. They teach drills a lot of times that they came up, coaches taught them, and they did in high school, did in college, whatever the case might be. 80% of trainers might not be lifelong learners as well. Now, that's not to say what your coaches are teaching you or what your trainers are teaching you is bad information. It's just they might not bring the majority of them. There are these great coaches and great trainers that are students of the game that bring you fresh new information. But lifelong learners are patient. They get their sources of information from a variety of sources. They read books. Unfortunately, not enough people read books. And those that do, a lot of them read the first 2-3 chapters, which is great. But what if that nugget of information that's going to give you an edge is in the 10th chapter or the last chapter or on the last page? So lifelong learners, students of the game of basketball, are patient enough to read an entire book and read a lot of books. They take courses and they complete the entire course. They watch videos like you're watching today. I will tell you, the majority of people that started watching this video have already dropped off. There are players that are looking for an edge, that were too impatient. We don't live in a very patient world anymore, a very patient society, right? We want the point now. We want instant gratification. But there might be something I'm going to say that resonates with you further down the line in this video. It might come in the last 30 seconds of the video. Maybe it is just a new thought, a new technique, a revolutionary idea that gives you the edge. And then you go, oh, now I know about that. I want to work on that. I want to put that into my, playing repertoire, or, my mindset process, or something of that nature. So lifelong learners are patient, okay? They are always looking for places to get those golden nuggets of information. And like I said, that doesn't mean they take them all and go through the learning process with all of them. They pick and choose. They go, that could be really useful. I got something really useful out of that camp I went to. I got something really useful from that coach. I got something really useful from that teacher. I got a couple of really useful things from that book. That course I took, I got a really great process. But lifelong learners are open to taking in all that information because they have a hunger for the knowledge that's going to make them better players, that's going to affect their lives. So I promised you kind of a story about two players, and it's a bit of a contrasting story. These two players both went to the same high school, different times, okay? But they both went to the same high school. They both played under the same varsity coach. They both played on the same varsity team. And they both ended up going to a WCC school, St. Mary's College. This is on the women's side of the game. The first one I know because I happened to be an assistant coach during the time that they were there. And this player was a walk-on. The second player was a walk-on too. That's the other thing they had in common, both walk-ons at St. Mary's College. The first player I took under my wing during the off seasons, and we did individual workouts, but I noticed some elements of her game that really weren't conducive to her earning more playing time or competing in the WCC or competing at that next level she was at. Some things with her shot, some things with her ball handling, some things with her defense, some things with her mindset, all of the above, right? So this player was really open to new techniques, new skills, new ways of doing things, okay? And this player put in the work, learned these new skills, learned these new techniques, learned a different way of doing things that maybe she had learned before, put in the work to make these new skills habits, and went on to start earning some playing time. At first, the end of maybe, a game that was maybe, lopsided one way or the other. Then all of a sudden, in the first half, a little time and earned more time, and then found herself in the game at critical points in the game. Not only did this player earn playing time with this fresh approach to, I'm going to be open to new ways, they actually earned a scholarship, which was a great financial relief for their family. And their family was really open, obviously, to this new founded learning. And this player has gone on and has an unbelievable career, owns her own business, is really successful. And I credit all that success to being open to learning new ways, to being open to learning things, and to taking those things, and then the work ethic to applying the right things. Now, I told you this was a story of two players. So I ran into a dad and his daughter, found out they were at St. Mary's College as a walk-on from the same exact program as this player. Very similar athletic skills, very similar build. Everything was similar. And I noticed some of the things this player was doing in the workout with her father weren't going to work at that level. They weren't going to work at the WCC level. She was never really going to earn playing time unless she made some adjustments. I mean, her shot looked like she was unfolding a lawn chair. I mean, it took forever to get off. Can't be that way at a Division I level. I noticed some things she was doing, in her workout, the way she was cutting, different things that I was picking up on. And I thought to myself, well, hey, I've helped one player in her exact situation. Let me lend some guidance so this father and her can maybe work on some different things. But I was met with resistance to those new ideas. No, this is the way we do it. This is her shot. We're not going to do things a different way. We're not going to change the speed of our workouts. We're not going to change what we're doing, okay? I went on to look at that player's career. That player never really got any playing time, did not earn a scholarship. And I have to look back and go, that player had every opportunity that the player I originally worked with had. They were kind of at the same starting place. And the only big difference was an openness to learning something new and then taking that knowledge and applying it going forward. And it could have affected that player's game. It could have affected that player's playing time. It could have affected that family's financial future if she had earned a scholarship. I mean, so many things. And I don't really know, where that player ended up in their career or future. But I will say that there was a general resistance to new information. She wasn't really a lifelong learner. That I'm referring to wasn't really going to become a student of the game. Just kind of resistance to new ways. And so there's the contrast. And you have to decide as a player, are you going to have that hunger for knowledge that's going to give you an edge, that's going to help you accomplish your goals? And if so, invest in you becoming a lifelong learner. Invest in becoming a student of the game of basketball. And the first step, the most critical step, is get yourself out of the first stage of learning more often than not. And that first stage of learning is cluelessness. You just don't know what you don't know. And so I want you to take that critical step of being open to get yourself from there to, oh, now I know there's a skill I need to work on. Or now I know about this different strategy in basketball and maybe I should apply it. Or now I know of a different technique I should be using to shoot or play defense or whatever the case might be. And creating a habit of becoming a lifelong learner is a habit that can not just help you as a basketball player, but can help you further down the road in all different aspects of your life. So I hope this was useful for you. If it was, please leave me a comment below and say, yep, coach, that was useful. I always like you forwarding my videos to other players, coaches, parents, anybody that could use this information. Please forward it on to them. And until we talk next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.